Two FLA period police officers. Actually, let me enunciate that better. Two FLA police officers charged in new Proud Boys indictment in Capitol riot. A father and son, who are current and former Florida police officers, and a North Carolina man have been charged with joining alleged Proud Boys members in the January 6th Capitol riots, according to new 5 co-defendant indictment unsealed in Washington on Friday. Again, I need y'all to understand the most important takeaway of January 6th was law enforcement involvement and the cover-up of their involvement. The cops opened the doors. They chose not to use force, right? They were off-duty and involved. There were off-duty Capitol Police that were involved and knew the routes and opened up certain doors. There were on-duty police officers that knew the routes and opened up certain doors. They retreated, they failed, and they lost. And they let our democracy, I know, bear with me. They let our democracy almost be fucking destroyed, or at least severely damaged, by a bunch of fucking crazy motherfuckers, alright? You need to understand, law enforcement. Sir, what laws are you enforcing today? Were you enforcing any laws on January 6th? If you see a black kid smoking weed walking down the sidewalk, you're going to enforce some laws there. How come when you see 6,000 white redneck loser piece of garbages jumping through the fucking windows with guns, bombs, and zip ties, how come you don't decide to enforce any laws on that day? You're joining in the motherfucking crowd. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. So I need everyone to understand. There is also this story. In June of 2020, there was a Virginia protest where the entire police force knelt with Black Lives Matter protesters, and then the protest stopped. Guess who showed up at the Capitol on January 6th? It was the sergeant and the people directing the protest coverage in the police in that Virginia town. They were in the Capitol on January 6th. You need to understand, cops are garbage. Everyone. Your brother, your mother, your father, your cousin, your best friend, they're garbage. Cut them off while you still can. This is a warning. I am warning you, motherfucker. Let's read the rest of the article. Kevin Tito Tuck and Nathaniel A. Tuck, 29, of Central Florida were arrested and released on $25,000 unsecured bond Thursday by a U.S. magistrate judge in Tampa court records show. Edward George Jr. was also arrested Thursday and was scheduled to appear in federal court Friday in Raleigh, according to court records. The charges bring the number of off-duty law enforcement officers charged in the Capitol mob to at least 20, and the defendants' ties to several Central Florida police agencies highlight the continued pressure on sheriffs and police chiefs nationwide to scrub their ranks of members with links to white supremacist and far-right armed groups. 80% of police officers voted for Donald Trump, which means, bare minimum, 80% of police officers are white supremacists, which means 80% of police officers need to be purged and thrown into prison. I'm not even joking when I say that. We need to get rid of them. We need to rethink this entire system here. 80% of cops are white supremacists? 40% of cops beat their wives? What are these numbers? What do we do about this? Are we just jerking our dicks off and just fucking hoping for the best? That's not going to save anyone. Of more than 530 arrests, prosecutors have also now charged at least 37 members or associates of the Proud Boys, a group that has a history of violence. Former President Donald Trump famously urged the right-wing group with a history of street violence to, quote, stand back and stand by when asked to denounce white supremacist groups at the presidential debate last September. U.S. investigators say at least 65 Proud Boy affiliates joined an on-the-ground communications channel in Washington, led by 4 men accused of leading others in some of the most destructive, aggressive, and earliest attacks to breach the police line and break into the Capitol, forcing Congress to evacuate. An unsealed 9-court indictment dated July 7th charged the Tucks and George with obstructing a joint session of Congress that was meeting to confirm the 2020 election results, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. They are not charged with conspiracy, unlike some other Proud Boys. George was also charged with assaulting police, stealing government property, entering the Senate chamber with Kevin Tuck, and engaging in civil disorder with Nathan Tuck. An attorney for Kevin Tuck did not immediately respond to a request for comment, and Nathaniel Tuck's attorney could not be reached. Information about an attorney for George, 33, who was arrested in Fayetteville, North Carolina, was not available. The 3 men were added to an indictment of previously charged Orlando area men, blah, blah, blah. In their arrest affidavits in late March, the FBI showed photographs of Ray and Jackman, blah, blah, blah. Prosecutors have alleged that Biggs of Daytona Beach, FLA, was among the first to enter the Capitol. All right, that's just a little bit of a... Deputy Jackman rhetorically stated, "Do I leave him because of the group he joined?" Blah, blah, blah. Sheriffs are fucking corrupt garbage. Police Chief David Ogden said in a statement that the Elder Tuck joined the force after working for police in Longwood, FLA, as a reserve officer in May 2019 and later became a full-time officer in October of the same year. All these motherfuckers, who cares what their damage control is? They're garbage. You need to understand, the cops are garbage. The deputy, a member of the Sheriff's Office Training Unit and videographer for the agency's emergency response team, was at work January 6th and knew that her husband was in Washington to hear Trump speak, but not that he went to the Capitol, blah, blah, blah. All right, again, you need to understand law enforcement are white supremacists. It's not that white supremacists entered law enforcement. Law enforcement is a white supremacist organization. It is a criminal syndicate. It is a gang of racists and Nazis. Again, I was just following orders. What? What? Does that remind you of anything? Maybe some trials that were happening in the 50s? I was just following orders. Sorry, my superior told me to violate the First Amendment and arrest protesters. Sorry, my superior told me to beat the shit out of a black teenager for smoking marijuana while they're walking home from their fucking job. Right? Sorry, I was just following orders. I was following the law. Bro, what? Meanwhile, they're entering the Capitol on January 6th. Again, you need to understand. Law enforcement is not actually law enforcement. It is a white supremacist terrorist organization doing basically whatever they want. Because if they break the law, guess what happens? Nothing. And if something does happen, it's going to be years down the line after courts decide that they did something wrong, where they're going to be walking on the streets and being a shit fuck for the rest of that time as well. This is a problem. This is a pandemic in the United States of America and the globe, right? Police violence. Again, I want to reiterate, white supremacists have not infiltrated the police departments and law enforcement agencies. The law enforcement agencies are themselves explicitly and originally began as white supremacist terrorist organizations. Full stop. Slave patrols don't just become non-slave patrols because a couple of black cops join the force. Okay, buddy? This shit is systemic and it's garbage. And we need to understand all of these motherfuckers have got to go. So that's what I wanted to say on that one.